Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. We are live in Denver, Colorado at Big Up Studios. I have two of my favorite humans in the world with me. They just so happen to be living in Denver right now. Both entrepreneurs, both badass humans, mission-driven to make this world a better place, doing it their way. So they are perfect Turmeric and Tequila guests, and they've both already been on. So this is the second coming. And today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, mental health, community. If you're thinking about getting in and having a side hustle or a main business, this is a conversation for you. We each had different approaches to our entrepreneur journey, and we kind of had similar outcomes. Like, we're out here, we're doing it. But this is one to get pro tips, see how we did it, and just be creative in doing things your own way. So without further ado, Rosa, Claire, welcome to Turmeric and Tequila.
Yeah.
We gotta set this up where we have like hand motion space.
I know. I kind of like even restrain a little bit so I
don't
don't break anything or do anything.
It's okay. I know my angles.
Hey, she's not even talking.
What a good intro. Thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. I mean, you know them if you listen to Turmeric and Tequila. You've heard about them, but I'm gonna read their bios because since both of you have come on,
cringe.
It is a little cringy.
Life is different.
Subpar reader, but no, life is different, and you guys both have your own businesses in thriving ass space, famous in Colorado. We're gonna unpack that. All right, Claire Sobon, let's go. Serves as the owner and lead publicist at WYN Public Relations. In 2020, she set her sights on creating a boutique PR agency in Denver, Colorado that focused on servicing novice business owners who look to shape their public narrative while continually scaling their business. 2 years later, WYN PR has intentionally become a word-of-mouth agency strategically anchored in creating public relations and social strategy solutions for businesses that are looking to get the job done. Her East Coast approach, let's go, to target PR strategy and project management has enabled WYN PR to become an affiliate business model that seeks to source and collaborate with small and Black-owned businesses. She is thrilled to be engulfed in what she coins to be social renaissance of Denver.
Hey,
let's go.
Let's go.
And thriving.
What a bio. Oh my God.
Yeah, great bio. It's like, I wonder who wrote it.
All right, let's give Rosa some love.
Good for you. Congratulations. Mashallah.
The Rosa Jad, born in Middle East and immigrating to the United States in 2000, starting a radio career in one of America's top media markets at just the young age of 17, being a pioneer is Rosa's nature, as well as dominating the airwaves and ratings for 10 years on multiple top heritage stations. She's also the founder and CEO of Roro's Global Enterprise. Let's go. She is a new media content development distribution company whose mission is to connect global communities and nurture positive, safe spaces through original content, entertainment, and education, specifically catering to underrepresented women in Arab cultures around the world.
Yes,
that is me.
Girl.
These are my friends. I can barely read the bio. This is how personal they are.
Yes.
That's my least favorite part of the podcast is reading the bio.
What, the reading?
It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It happens.
Well, no, but
hearing it back, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
No, that's
beauty.
That's the most magical thing. They're like, in podcasts, like, don't read the bio, don't do that. I'm like, no. When the guest gets to hear back how amazing they are on the regular, because you never take time to go back and see it.
No.
You're like, oh shit.
I really did that.
Yeah.
I agree.
You really are doing that.
Yeah.
In
that
it.
part.
Yes.
In it.
Let's go. So these are friends through fitness, and we've literally known each other for 10 years.
Probably, yeah.
Like 10 years.
And
you were in high
close
school.
friends, too.
And actually, no, this is the best
We're
thing.
real friends. We
Best
really know
friends.
each other.
We actually
For
talk
real.
I wasn't
daily
Googling
outside of this.
3 different women to talk about female entrepreneurship.
No.
We actually happen to be friends.
You know my business, so.
My real business. That's why I was like, don't ask this, don't ask that.
Let's not share that. Yeah.
Actually, neither one of you said don't say something. So.
Well, I just knew you already knew at this point. Don't go there.
Yeah. Honestly, whatever. But
well, wait, here's the kicker. If I know yours, you know mine. So
Oh,
like,
100%.
Right.
100%.
I did think about that.
I think that's the safety net. I think that's definitely the safety net. I'll take it.
We're not pulling it out there.
Yeah.
All right. So, we do on TNT, pull out the human before the mission. So I want to hear about your young selves. You're obviously still young, but I want to hear about like Claire as the kid, Rosa as the kid. Because I always think the vibes of what you're going to do, the trajectory is kind of in the mix early on.
Yeah.
And then we get lost in middle school and all the terrible years. And then we start to get back on track as we get older.
Yeah.
So Claire, why don't you hit us with like young Claire?
Well, middle school Claire was traumatized. In more of just like, I come from a mixed race family. I originally was born in Gabon, Africa. Then my parents moved me and my entire family here when I was like 4. So I've always had this like home life that was very diverse and very different, but that was very normal to me. And then I would go out and like, I grew up in Somerset, New Jersey. Shout out Franklin. Hey.
New Jersey.
But I have these like 2 different cultural experiences consistently all the time. And so a lot of the times that I now look back, I'm just like, how did I not like lose my mind? Like nothing ever made sense, but everything kind of fell into place. I think I just had really good, solid parents who were just like, you know, you're going to have a structured, normal childhood. And I feel like that kind of was why I was able to really dig deeper into like who I am, my personality. I honestly, now that I think back, was kind of a bad kid.
Were you?
I was.
That is subjective though. Like how bad?
Well, I wasn't bad. I didn't get in trouble. This is the thing. I did just enough before I got suspended.
This is why we're friends.
So I only had like 1 in-school suspension, and I definitely regret it because I was being mean to somebody. But other than that, like I feel like teachers always didn't like me because I would get in trouble, but I'd be so smart that they'd be like, come on, like you can do better than this.
Right.
So then
the
I'd
potential.
be like, yes, the potential. They'd be like, you're so smart. And I'd be like, I know, as I like come to their class 5 minutes late repeatedly, like never handing homework assignments, but I would get A's on tests. And so I always felt like I was honestly kind of bored.
Yeah.
But I just did what was needed to be done in order to like get to the next grade. So I feel like now looking back, I'm like, big personality. I feel like now, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but do you feel like people now are very much like, oh, I was never the it girl ever? And I look back and I'm like,
I was always the
I was always the it girl!
Actually, my problem in life is that I only think I'm the it girl. And
exactly.
I haven't
Wait, is that a problem?
It's not a problem until you meet a lot. Well, no, to it girls, no.
A fellow alpha, it's like, oh, I not only like, can I like respect it? I'm like, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a competition.
I feel like that's why I can identify, and I think all my friends are such powerful women.
Yeah.
Because we attract each other. Yeah. Because there's a sense of like, okay, you get it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to like cultivate you to be a better friend because you are already a walking entity of yourself. Like, I feel like that's the type of woman that I attract to be my friend. But now looking back, and some friends that I've had to drop or had to just kind of part ways from, I realize it's because I've always kind of been involved with multiple groups of people. I was an athlete. I was a musical theater buff. I was an academic kid. I was like, I got all the scholarships. I got all the like first prize things. And to me, it was like normal. Yeah. So I feel like now as an adult and even doing what I do in my business, there's always a sense of like, no, I win. Like, I just win. And it's not because I'm, like, lazy about it. It's because I know what it takes. Yeah. And I get there and it gets done. Yeah. But I feel like now looking back as a kid, where's that energy going to be for a 3rd grader who's running around and talking to everybody and knowing how to, like, get away with murder in the 1st grade at that or 3rd grade, whatever. And I feel like what I do now has just kind of been a testament of, like, I was always supposed to be this like liaison of life because I was in so many things and I did it so well that now I'm like not ashamed about it because I felt before it's hard because you don't want to be the person who walks into a room and is like, I'm that girl. But I'm just like, I'm that girl.
People get intimidated.
They
people
do.
Get turned off.
Yeah, but if you walk in with an energy, you don't have to say anything.
And that's
like,
what
you
I
could
learned.
just like be what it is. Right. And there's a difference between confidence and security versus elitist.
That's what you learn in your second half of your 20s.
Exactly.
In your first half, you don't even comprehend that yet because you still have to get hit by the wall a couple times.
Multiple times.
There's still like, breakdowns. You can still be that girl. Bad girls have bad days too. Like it
gets worse actually. The breakdowns are worse. It gets harder.
Totally worse. Because then it's like your whole identity. And it doesn't get any easier. But I do feel like now looking back, it's just kind of like if I were like to tell my younger self something, it'd be like, just do it. Like just be it and don't be ashamed. Because I do feel like people are intimidated by it. And I mean, just being a woman, being a Black woman, people, instead of embracing it at times, try to diminish it because it's an insecurity in them that they are not able to really tap into. And here we are walking just so easily, so effervescently. And I think that time it's challenged a lot of my perspective, like, well, am I smart? Am I a go-getter? Am I the it girl? Just to keep doing my life and continuously win, continuously level up. And so I feel like, you know, as a kid, that was something that was always something like, well, Mary Claire always has so much energy, so much like pizzazz, and like we need to either tame it before it gets bad, or she's gonna get herself into something. But haha on them, didn't get into anything but success. So, but that's hard. Started. Like, how do you tell, you know, a young little Black girl that, like, what is all this energy? And I think a lot of time with women and girls all together, people actually don't know what to do with us. And so they instead diminish us, which I think is wild.
Well, I still think it's very much in the narrative of, like, don't be too much for the group or for a man or for anything. Like, you don't need to do anything but, like, kind of keep a house. I still think that's a conversation in today's society.
100%. I think that's the game within the game that no one 100%. Talks about.
Yeah. And our school system, they all they know how to do is a one size fits all situation to, like, keep us quarantined like sheep and to keep it together, which God bless them, because that's not easy. It's a lot of young humans. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What else would your strategy be? Mine would be that as well. Herd them together. And figure it out. Try your best. Try to get them all to a kind of standard level. And then after, it's like, I'm sorry, what can I, you know.
Yeah. I would always just encourage the sports, the outlets, the things where there's you can be a little more yourself and get your community around you where you have other kids like you and you meet your friends, and then you can kind of do your own things, and just an outlet in general to express yourself, your voice, your creativity. All that. And our kids nowadays, I think, have it even harder than we do.
Oh my God,
because of social media and everything. Yeah.
But they also have a lot of great outlets that we never had.
There's sources,
like all of these clubs, and you know, they can meet friends online. Growing up, if there wasn't anybody who looked like me in my town, which there wasn't, I wasn't seeing that on my phone. I wasn't going to find my community. It was just, this is what it is. You go home and talk to your family. Those are the only people like you. So it's pros and cons. Play the game right. Yeah. Wish everybody the best luck. That's really, I swear to God.
And the internet was like dangerous back then. Like, it wasn't, I mean, it's still dangerous. Let's not get out of hand. But I feel like I'm going back to like the AOL like AIM days where it's like you were who knows
I think you guys are too young for that.
Knows I was like on the cusp of it because I had an older sister, and so I got a lot of like
text free after 8 p.m.
Oh, mine, girl.
See, I missed that.
Mine on my coast.
Yeah, man, I was in that.
But I feel like back then it was just like the internet. There's probably like weirdos and people living in their basements.
MySpace. They were
for sure. But now there's such a transparency, and I feel like the search engine optimization is so much more available to everybody where you could find out who this person is.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could not know, and that is the indicator for you to stop talking to them.
Yeah, or you could find your community online.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely like a new thing that I feel like we just
And now we're in the next part of, I believe, the social media generation where you guys first met online. Now let's start the meetups. Let's start meeting. And yes, of course, that's really unsafe, but there's also some great safe events for so many women.
You just do it the right way.
Yeah, you just be smart. Be smart about everything.
Yeah. But I do feel like the problem with now that shift of socialization is that people don't honestly, and I'm just saying this from a publicist standpoint, don't have the social like aptitude to really take an online relationship in any capacity into a formal, because now you have no buffer. You have
is this business or Claire's Chronicles?
It's a little bit. You have you can't be like, oh, I'm going to respond in 10 minutes when I get my thoughts together. It's like a conversation is fast and
also,
active.
Truthfully, I think it goes back to social anxiety is what that is. You have social anxiety, you've got it. You're not, you know what I mean? I don't think it's your 4 friends who look and act like you that also play Pokemon and get you to come outside. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, that's a group of 15 people. You were going to freak out before that. You were going to freak out after. This is your best place to maybe start to acculate. So now that's what I mean. It's on the person. You got to be smart. You got to get yourself out there. Try with your 15 friends who like Pokemon first. Then the next day is try King Supers. You know, I know people like this Instacart stuff. I know we're getting super far off topic now, but like,
go
Instacart and stuff. You know, like people aren't even shop. I had
you
a
can
friend
completely live at home and
who had an
completely
employee
isolated.
who had social anxiety shopping, and she Instacarts everything to her house and like gets. And I'm just like, but you know, the Uber Eats, the whatever. I've never Uber Eats. I've never used. I think I've used Uber like when I was younger, but like I try to stay completely away from.
You probably should have used Uber a few times.
I try to stay away from anything that provides something directly to me, because I feel like you can get into a thing where you will not leave.
You can completely completely be disconnected from society.
Well, that's my question. Is it true social anxiety, or are we
comfortable?
And so now socialization is actually uncomfortable because we're in such a world where you don't really have to socialize with anybody, but you can still somehow get all the endorphins and energy and lifelike from looking at your phone or on your screen, which I feel like then makes it so that when you go and have to meet people, and like people hate small talk. That's what I hear all the time, and I'm like, I'm a genius.
I love small talk. It's my favorite thing.
Like, and I'll even be bored out of my mind, and I'll still be like, okay, so your cat's name is Harry?
Right.
Yeah, my father's side grandfather. Like, I can go on a whole tangent, but that's my own gift that I can do. But I feel like as a publicist, I'm always coaching clients to be like, you're gonna need to like time these responses and be prepared. And I literally see clients, like when we're doing our media training, melt with anxiety because they're just like, I don't know how to host a conversation for more than a certain amount of time or even a certain amount of pace of speech. And that's where we kind of really get into like, what is your brand in person and how are you representing it? Because people might love your content and things online, but there is a point where like you're doing in-person shows.
You are the brand.
Or you have to be brand,
and I have to speak it.
And this is where I like give celebrities like a pass of like, this is when people are like, well, they're a bitch, or like they're not nice, or they're mean, or they're awkward, or they have no, but it's like that's two different personas and two different social environments that I don't think we always like.
But we don't live in that. 99% of the world doesn't live in
it.
And they're on all the time. There's a camera and an interview all the time.
But they may not ever have the personality. I feel like that's the biggest thing with like rappers, where you meet them and you're just like, why are they? You're like, why are they so weird? And it's like they're actually not weird. That's who they are. Right. But what they do is perform, and then it's like you discover like, oh, they stutter, or they can't make eye. They've been like that.
Well, artists and creatives traditionally are their own situation. Like we have a different way of doing and thinking and being. And well, before we get too fast, and I actually think this is a good lead in entrepreneurship, because who you are and how you are as a young person, your gifts, or maybe the things you can improve on, are intel probably on what you're supposed to do long term. Gift a gap, having a diverse situation growing up, being able to relate to people, finding diversity in Denver, Colorado, Roro, Colorado. But before we go there, Rosa, tell us about your young self. I was actually coaching at Grandview High School when Rosa was there. That's how long we've been friends and how much older I am than her.
I'm serious. Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about that is I was on the tennis courts and you were walking to the cross field, which means we were passing each other and
all the time.
Every
day for like,
and it's the same
3 months a year.
Yeah, literally. But I would say
to play tennis.
Carry on. They put me in that skirt and I won.
See,
that's all it takes.
That girl.
You know what I'm saying? And I actually auditioned with a smaller racket. I had no idea. I just watched Serena play, and my dad was like, "Run it." I was like, "Run it." Yeah. I'll be right back. I love this.
Has to be done.
Yeah,
I love it. You know what has to be done.
But honestly, a similar story to Claire. I was born in the Middle East, and my family moved here when I was 5, and it was that same duality of like when you go outside, you're an American, and when you come inside, you're Arab. And not knowing what anything is, not knowing what anything means, just knowing how to really compartmentalize, knowing how to live that duality that I am. It's like what you said, now that I am older, everything is finally, I believe, starting to fall into place of who I was as a child versus all of the hard work I put in my early 20s to what I want to do in the trajectory as I become a woman. But I would just say, the kid I was in high school, same like her, they're giving me in-school suspension, but there's an A on that,
Period.
And I think it's because having immigrant parents, the number one thing that they focus on and care about is education. We came to America for that. Your number one thing is straight A's. There was no B's in all 4 of my kids in my family. None of us had a single.
I had some B's.
I mean,
I definitely did.
You'd see. I don't think I had my first B till my sophomore year of high school. It was straight A's. It was my mom used to call the blackboard. Remember the blackboard system? We used to have blackboard. Yeah, they implemented it my sophomore year. My mom used to, and you could see like, here's 7 spelling tests, and it's like 0 out of 10 before it gets filled in. My mom would call the teacher so many times and be like, why didn't you put in the whatever yet? Did you this, that? Did you? And the teacher would be like, Miss Jad, like, I'm still grading. Give me
I make $25 an hour.
Exactly. But my mom
shout out to the teachers.
Shout out. But my parents were really like gun-ho on us being good kids of like education and sports, basketball, football, soccer, dance, stuff like that. And then when I turned 17, it was the same thing as Claire of like, my parents actually identify, shout out to them. Now I realize you have to have great parents with heads on their shoulders that see the progression for their child future and their own in their culture.
Yeah.
That just not a lot of parents do. Even like, let's say I have my family, you have your family, and we're friends, and we're both kind of like these introverted, not really wanting to take risks. That's going to relay into our family.
Yeah.
My kids aren't going to do those. But if we're both like, we're progressive, our kids are going to soccer practice, even though we've never had them outside past 8 p.m. Things like that's really, I know it sounds crazy, but those are the things that make people, you know, progress. So, so in high school, I was, you know, I was getting detention while I had straight A's. And then my senior year, I had already applied to University of Colorado, Denver and gotten in. And what people don't
know that.
Yeah, I was
no, maybe I did.
I was in my junior year. Yeah. And as an Arab woman, you know, you don't really leave the house until you're married. And so I knew what college I was going to go to. I knew what I was going to do, whatever. I interned at the radio at 107. I entered at 104.3 The Fan, which is what people, the sports station.
Right.
And I showed up and I went, oh my God. That's when I saw the 7 radios and I saw the purple and the blue, yellow for KS. And I was like, yo. Oh my God. And you know, at that point, you're trying to get Summer Jam tickets. Like, that's it. I still get high. Like, yo.
Summer Jam.
KS, man. Yeah, you could. I was like, yo. So when I started, how I got the internship, it was a Cherry Creek School District program that as a senior in high school, you can intern just like if you were in college or whatever. You're getting a math credit, a social studies, a science credit, same thing. So I would go to Cherry Creek High School every Friday. We make a resume, a cover letter. I went in, whatever. So I did that. I did my internship in the marketing department at 104.3 The Fan. And then I went in for a second internship directly after because I was already in college. So I just got a letter of approval for them to allow me to do an internship with only 3 or 4 college credits. Yes. So I went right back to the radio 6 months. Like my first internship was 6 months. I was gone for a week. I went right back and I brought donuts. I'll never forget. I brought donuts.
You told us this at Front Range. I was like, you were like 16, 17?
16, 17.
She was about her business.
No, she was schmoozing
on business. We love that.
Now at this point in my life though, I actually need to stop standing on business and we need to chill out. And that's what I mean. There's like
I'm turning up.
There's phases.
If you're turning down, I'm turning up.
There's phases. There's phases.
Don't put respect on my name.
Right. Yeah. So I did the second internship and this internship wasn't in marketing, it was in the on-air side. So I would practice my voice on air in another room as I was learning the board. Did that for 6 months. I eventually got hired to do 12 to 2, 12 to 4 a.m. So I was doing that on weekends, Saturday and Sunday while I was in college. And for years. I didn't get my first on-air shift before midnight until 4 years into my career. So I really did the whole thing from ground up.
It was a grind.
Remember
that?
Wait,
and the on-air talent, I want you to talk a little bit about Destiny's Child.
Oh, yeah.
Because
no, I wish.
No.
Whoa, I am them.
Girl.
No, her
Don't
and her
scare me
sisters.
like that.
No, so like the performing and the voice is also in the family.
Yeah,
like they will bust
yeah.
into song like
We
simultaneously.
One time, side
Love
story, we were at, this is like the pinnacle moment, highlight of my life. Like, it's Thanksgiving Eve. It's Drake and Beyonce. It's Drake. No, it's.
Oh, no, I was here for this.
It's Jay-Z versus Beyonce at Ophelia's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yes.
My sisters are in town. Ladies, let's run it up.
Yes.
We're going.
Because the club is jumping.
Cleared
Like,
space.
ladies, leave your man at home.
Yes.
And, you know, if there's one thing about me and my sisters, it is Destiny's Child.
Yeah, no,
my dad,
I stand on that.
My dad used to make us watch the tapes over and over. And Shakira, Beyonce.
This is good parenting. Yeah,
He's like, this is entertainment.
Yeah, I like this.
The fan. He taught us Beyonce had the fan that the wind would blow. And so, you know, as in on my house, we have one rule. If someone goes, question.
Hey.
What you think about me? Yes. Yes, I'm in it.
Exactly. It's something. And so we're at
Like
Ophelia's. It's Thanksgiving Eve.
Literally.
And we're in there. My friend was hosting and we're dancing. And it was just like a lot of heavy Jay-Z. I'm not going to lie. And we were like, what the fuck? Like,
he's got 6 songs.
Like, we need to. I was like, where is like me and my
Where's
sister?
Destiny?
We're starting to get a little
Yeah,
antsy
writings
kid.
on the wall. Girl, I know.
So I look at my friend and I'm like, hey, sister, can you go tell the DJ? Like, I'm not here for 99 problems. I'm here for
I mean, the
crazy
floor was
and
literally
love.
clearing out.
So
No one,
then-
like, people were leaving.
So then, my friend, 5 minutes later, she gets on. All you hear is, I hear we got Destiny's Child in the building. What you not gonna do is make a circle. And my sister, these are 2 younger sisters. She looks at me in the face. She grabs me like this, and she goes, "This is it."
Oh, yes.
Mind you, we have choreographed dances.
Yes.
To Destiny's Child. And that's why she looked
it's
at
the
me.
whole
She's
video.
like,
It's his time. Like, don't mess up the 8 count.
It was like white chicks. We pushed everybody back.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what's happening? And
That's
we were
me
like,
and Kay on
let's
a
go.
regular night.
We were
I was
like,
gonna say,
we
cue and
hit
sing.
the choreo dancing. We did the turns. Like, we did a whole 2-minute performance, and the crowd went crazy. You could have saw my friend on white. She was like,
Go
everybody
crazy.
was like, what is this? best night of my life. So
yes.
shout out. So perform. So
you peaked at
having
18.
Yeah, I did. That was
It sounds like us at tracks.
Dude,
it was
once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
And one of my sisters, I don't know, but I just remember she's like, we gotta go. Like
it's getting too big.
Hot.
Yeah. It's not the block is hot.
Wait, were they even 21?
They were. One just turned 21. That's why she's like, I'm done. Like, this is
I thought we had to do like an ID pass back or something.
This is a whatever.
I love this.
Yeah, and so I was like, let's go. So me being on the radio, I always try to bring them on as much as possible and have fun and do videos. Yeah. But back to me. Anyway, so I did the radio, worked my way up. I got nights at 21. From nights, I created a show called Rosa's Risky Rotation where I interviewed all local Denver artists. I found a wheel in the back room. I used to spin it. I edit, I shoot, I was posting it all. And then from there, I started getting national artists. And then from there, COVID hit, took the show to my basement. And then I also, a year before that, I went to middays. So I stayed at nights for about 8 months, went to middays. And then I also started on the comedy channel. So I was doing the programming and I was on air on comedy while I was on air at middays. And then I actually went over to Westwood One for a little bit as well. And I was doing like the nationally syndicated midday shows on their hot AC rhythm. And then again, when COVID hit, I took the show to my basement, the virtual show. And when COVID started to clear back up, we're back in the radio, and I just felt like I don't think I had outgrown my space, but it was different. There's nobody in the building, things changed, and I just thought, all right, I'm gonna take my resume online and on the radio, and I'm gonna go to LA. It's time. I'm going to LA. I'm going to New York. I'm going to be this girl. I'm her. Yeah. I got all this. Why was I? Why didn't I? Playing? Right. So I get to LA. I'm in the room, man. It's me. It's all these huge celebrities, and I just had this really big moment of like, I looked at my friend and I was like, oh no, I'm the only Arab in this room. And it was, trust me, I was so pissed. I felt that. I thought, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel like that. I want to have a good time. You're having a good time. She's having a good time. This is it. We're all so blessed to be in this room. We worked so hard to get in here. Right. And I'm looking at her and I was like, you can go flirt with that guy. You guys are both like American or whatever. You can go get married. I was like, I'm Muslim. I'm probably going to marry a Muslim. I'm probably going to only be around, Muslims. And I just thought, this isn't for me. I'm never going to get anything out of this. Not that I don't belong here, because nobody belongs. Everybody's a little different. But they had their unique pockets of people who looked and acted like them in entertainment. And I just didn't see that. And it was just this big of like my entire 10 years of being in entertainment. I'd never seen another black hair, brown eyes, Muslim girl. And I just thought, all right, damn, if I want to do this and I want to stay here, I must create the whole lane for myself. Absolutely. So instead of going to work for Warner, going to whatever, I just started my own company in Denver, and it's to represent for underrepresented women in mainstream media, such as myself, Arab women. I've never seen Arab women for a Bose commercial. And so I created a company last April, and I went out to shoot, and I ended up creating an 8-segment variety game show with the world's biggest artists, celebrities, and entertainers right here out of Denver, Colorado. And it's a tribute to Denver. We shoot at Wash Park, we shoot at the Capitol, we shoot all backstage, we shot it at Void. And it was kind of like, I created a character named Roro, where she had a red suit, red car. It was a red Corvette, that little mini wheel. I went and got a huge game wheel. And I created this character because I thought, like, if I needed her growing up. I needed Roro so bad. This just outgoing dual American and Arab who can go to the concert and then go pray at night. And I was like, I know we exist. I know we're there. And as I went along that journey, I learned so much about myself, because I don't even think I knew what the word entrepreneur was when I did this. Right. I feel like I just had no choice but to create this, because I didn't know anybody doing it. And I'm so desperately was trying to find those women that I wanted to look up to, was the subliminal reason why I did it. So as I started, shooting the show, and I started just reaching out, because, another thing that people need to know about being an entrepreneur is, like, especially in the beginning, your back is up against that wall, and nobody knows what that feels like. It's like, every day, you get rid of that 9 to 5, and it really becomes 24 hours. You can wake up at 1 a.m.
See, I haven't done that yet.
Well, you can transition into, like, it doesn't have to be full gas to the wall.
But then here's another thing.
I'm doing both, and I feel like it's mine is more because I need health insurance.
And that's another thing that people don't know.
It's like you going to the doctor as an entrepreneur without that umbrella. It's, first of all, the medical system is crazy. Yeah. But to go for simple visits, it's like you're dropping stacks, and you're like, all I need you to tell me is this, like, a lump or not? Like, you know,
or just a basic physical, or do I have strep throat?
Cleaning, right. It's $1,000.
And as a new entrepreneur, $1,000 means way more.
Way more, because you earned that $1,000.
You earned it, and then so to know that, I agree. I had a couple health things as well. I had to go to the emergency room. Literally, I'm so pissed at myself. I had like crazy cramps. Yeah. So I was like, we need to go. And then I was so pissed. My parents were so mad when they're like, it's nothing. And I was like, guys, you have to take me. And it ended up being nothing. And they're like, here's your bill, Shawty.
Your $800 Advil.
And my parents laugh at me to this day. He's like, here's your $1,000 ibuprofen.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But
and Tylenols $400 at the hospital. Girl.
And then what you don't know is your brain really changes of like, oh my gosh, getting braces or getting a new editor for the company or, you know, so it really is that. So I would suggest, like, I think, like, so as I started my journey, I was just, and I think everybody starts because they believe in themselves. And I don't think I necessarily needed to make an 8-segment variety game show. I could have made a 1 or 2. But I think I was so delusional in believing in myself. And I had believed in all of these segments. And I had seen the lack of people like me in them, so I went for it. So I'm not mad at myself. But and as an entrepreneur, you got to really see the whole vision through and then immediately reel it back. But when I saw the vision through, you have to know you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of wasted time, money. You're going to mess up a lot.
But that's okay.
I didn't even know what a producer was when I started this show, or a director.
And you came from the industry.
Like,
that's from
Well, honestly, I feel like that journey is, I don't know, I feel like I don't have that journey, which I appreciate hearing your story, because I kind of fell into PR as like honestly, a friend of mine was going through it, and he's like, we need to do this, and I'm being a good friend, and I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just do this and then write this, and he's like, have you done this before? And I'm just like, no, but this just logically makes sense to me of how to get this done, how to get the word out. So then, I mean, that's honestly how Win was birthed. It was more of like, I can do this, I know how to negotiate for my not my real job, because I feel like both of them are my real jobs, but for my other corporate job, I'm constantly dealing with negotiations. I'm constantly dealing with cultivating relationships and really getting things on the other side. And so I was like, well, I can just do that. I can just go talk to this journalist and make sure that they talk about X, 100%. Y, and Z. And then I was like, wait, Am I a publicist?
Yeah, it's happening.
Am I a publicist? And so that grew. And it's still very much like, I can't even believe some of the projects that I've done because in my mind, it hasn't been that like, I believe in this dream and I need to go. It was more of like, let me just write you a little press release real quick and we could be done with it.
But it was already there. You just hadn't like quarantined it on the resume. It's always been there.
It's always been there. It's just a matter of, I think, the structure and seeing from an entrepreneur standpoint of like, all the money and time and like failed attempts, but also like those are still very good lessons.
You need all the failure
of how to be like, okay, well next time let's not do this, and next time like we can shortchange our process because you've already. And that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that every time you do it, you shorten the next time you have to do it. Like then you have all your collateral, you have all your systems in place,
and
you can move through it way faster, and you're learning.
That's what my dad told me actually. He even said he's actually like, you're dumb because when you left the radio, you should have learned all this on someone else's dime. But you're so stubborn and you believed in yourself so much and you swear to God that you just did this whole thing and you did all of those trials and tribulations, all of that. This was a wasted. I got scammed here.
But for people like us, you have to have that lesson early on. Otherwise, you've been 40, 50 doing it then. So learn the hard way, get knocked down, and then go.
And especially as an entrepreneur, fail quick, pivot fast. And get your emotions out of it. For me as a creator, it was so hard in the beginning. And I look back at me now and I'm like, Rosa, are you crazy? You thought that, or you shot that, or you whatever. You were so attached to the project as a creative, as this whatever, that you fully couldn't separate from the strategy of the business. So it's hard to be a creative and have your emotion. But I was actually going to tell you when it comes to like, I know you were talking about balancing both your normal whatever and then this on the side. I've even tried to encourage people to stop looking at it that way.
No, I don't.
I think one
honestly
totally feeds the other.
One feeds the other. And if
100%.
if I could go back, I wish I would have. Again, I'm different. I'm really black and white, so I'm like, don't want it out. Never gonna look again. Instead of, okay, maybe this isn't starting to be for me anymore. Let me figure out how to do something else that I like while I still have my health insurance or my money coming in. You know how hard it is to make $1? You know how fucking hard it is to make a dime? But once you make your first one, then you make $10. Then you feel so, the bad bitchness that you feel when you walk into the room and you made your own $10,000.
All the failure, all the pain is paid off in that moment.
It's
and
gone.
I would say this to the parents of kids, just in general, like let them fail. So when they do something themselves, they actually feel that, because then I think that carries to their young entrepreneurial budding self, that they're used to this, like, oh, I have failed, I can do this. I'm going to kick a soccer goal, then I'm going to start a business, and I'm going to do this. Like, you have to feel that fail and feel it hard.
But have the conversation, too, because I feel like, yes, I agree to because honestly, my PR business and they're full-time jobs. They're not.
Right, you're doing two. You have two full-time jobs.
I say part-time because it's not really part-time, because I'm constantly... And I work I'm not going to say my corporate job is, but it's fluid enough that I can literally do both at the same time, and it doesn't take away from either one.
But that doesn't mean that's still not very difficult. And that's a lot of brain power every day.
Right.
So it's a lot.
Which I always feel a sort of like empathy for those who are like in completely different, like people who are like, I'm a doctor and I want to open up a bakery, and you're just like, okay, well that's just
that's
good
hard.
luck.
What I'm here for? Go. That's the dream. Do it.
I'm one of those people who's like, I use everything. I truly believe everything works for your good. And I'm always like, how can I get the bang for my buck of like, that's how I was in college. I was like, I'm going to go to this Division I school, but I know I'm going to be in a city that's going to cultivate relationships for me to be able to do things that I want, but like get a quality. Like, I'm never one who's like, this is what it is. It's going to like grant all my wishes. I'm like, it's going to grant 5 wishes. And maybe 2 of them will fail, but the other 3 are going to be anchored enough where I can walk away and I'm still going to win. And I feel like that for me has been such a wonderful experience of being an entrepreneur, because I'm like, no, I'm not going to put one hat or whatever the saying is. Like, I'm not gonna put one thing into the pond and be like, oh, I'm wishing on a star. No, I'm going to like that lake, the ocean. I'm dropping pebbles in multiple things because I don't want to rely on just one thing, which is why I feel like I've been okay with handling 2 very full-time situations.
Well, with a diversified perspective and agenda, or just being open-minded in general, I think is such a massive play in this day and age, because what you're going to do may not even exist.
Yes.
In 1999, when I was a high school student, they're like, you're going to be a podcaster. I'd have been like, what?
Right. What
the
podcast?
Fuck is that? Yeah.
NPR.
Spin again.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think just showing up and like, maybe you're ahead of where the world's at and it's coming, but like, as it's your time to do what you're supposed to be doing, it's there. Like, I think we're taught to be like, what do you want to do in 10 years? What do you want to do when you graduate? What's the plan? What's this? Where I was kind of like you. I started just because I had a top 20 D1 lacrosse player, and I was done having a boss. I was over it. I had a 5th year because of an ACL, and like I didn't care what it took. Like, I had relationships. I was from Colorado. Not a lot of people play lacrosse. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I was open-minded, but I knew I was not going to do this. But like you, I kind of wish I would have taken some sort of job I could have multitasked at. Had some money to just do the marketing. But on the flip side, I figured it out. Like, I hustle, innovation happens. Like, you do. And it's a lot of, there's no wrong way, really.
The next opportunity is your best opportunity. There's no it. It could be it today and then something else, whatever, tomorrow. And then also just like, I think being an entrepreneur, for me, why I think adapted so well into it and was able to, now that I know I am one, I read all the books and I started meeting other ones and was like, literally, what is this? I think number one, there's a lot of frauds out there. So just let's remember that.
Insert social media. This is why we have the podcast.
That's crazy. That was the biggest
Where's
thing.
The tequila so I can really spill?
I was so shocked about that. Like, I was so taken back and I was like, oh my gosh, like, that was crazy to me.
Well, it's a self-appointed title. Nobody says like, oh, you're an entrepreneur, where's your certification?
Right.
That doesn't
exist. Print a business card and it's real.
A lot of people talk and they don't have action behind it. But the second thing that I realized, which is why I think I am successful in a way in it, and where I found success is that like my day-to-day has never changed since I was 17.
Discipline.
I have woken up every single day at 5 a.m. since I was a child, you know? And that's why I love my religion, because being Muslim, you pray 5 times a day. Your first prayer is sunrise. So the fact that I have disciplined myself as an adult now with no alarm clock to wake up at the sunrise is, to me, it'll be New York and everybody will go out that night and I'm still up at 5 a.m. the next day. And I'm like,
she's prayed at my house before we go out.
That is every time.
Just like get the dogs out of advice.
I've passed that on the couch.
And I've also walked in through the doggy door. So listen.
That's true.
That's new.
Girl, I've had the doggy door.
Okay.
I'll come home and there's people in my house.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and it was me. It's me and my friends at the dollhouse. Yeah. So I've had my fair share, but I would say that's why I'm like,
you still get the business done.
Dude,
and that is entrepreneurship in a nutshell.
Business done is in my room right now is filled with 7 whiteboards and everything is color coded and everything has a time. Yeah. Everything has a date. Everything has where the drive was, where the link is, and I've spent hours. Yeah. Oh my hours. I have Loom videos that when I send an editor something, I send him the edit with a video on the screen where I explain I try to keep everything as organized as possible. Yeah. But that's what I was at the radio and that's what I was before that. So just as a human, I'm someone who enjoys to wake up, enjoys to work. I love to work during the day. I know that sounds stupid, but no, I love what I do. Yeah. I love to work. I love to feel fulfilled. I love to be around hardworking people. And I realized that whether I had a title of an entrepreneur or an employee or a boss or whatever, I was still going to act the same every way. Yep. So I think that if somebody is looking to be an entrepreneur, if they have this sick idea that they're I'm going to make $1 billion of, you got to know that your discipline has to be there first. You got to wake up.
It doesn't work if you don't be disciplined. But I think what you really alluded to, knowingly or unknowingly, that I think we've all learned, if you're not in pursuit of your passion, you can label that entrepreneur, passion project, whatever. Yeah. That is going to impact your mental health. Like when you are out of alignment, not doing what you're supposed to be doing, the community you're seeking, the mission-driven cause where I'm in pursuit of something. Yeah. And ironically, I was just thinking about that today because I signed up for this marathon thing, which is a whole other great decision.
You should do a solo podcast on just what you're going to endure. Just take them through it.
We're going to do it. But the thing is, I was thinking, I'm why am I doing this? I'm because I'm happiest when I'm in pursuit of something.
Yeah. You feel aligned. You feel it in your heart,
your soul. Almost doesn't even matter. It does. Yeah. But it's what am I doing? It's like training or competing. When you want to go and you get to the end of the championship game, you play, and then you're we won. All I want to do is go back to practice. I don't even know what to do next.
I want to go to bed.
I go get tequila and dance first.
Okay, well, let me preference this. I agree to that 100%.
The after party.
There is definitely a yearning. And I don't know. This is why I feel like everyone was watch out. We don't know what she's going to do. Because I was a track athlete, Division I scholarship, full ride. Shout out to my coaches who I liked. But I was one of those okay, we won first place. I'm going to the bus. I'm going to bed. I'm not. I feel like this is where we need to diversify the conversation about what drives us and our passion, and also I think from another perspective, I was being a woman of color and not having, even if from just my background, my parents are not rich at all. Truly, my dad was a construction worker. My mom worked at Fuddruckers, her first job ever in America, and then ended up becoming a nurse. And she's one of my role models, and my dad is as well. And they're just wonderful people. But I knew my just career journey had to make money. And so I feel that tapped into, honestly, when I decided to start my business, I was this can't take away from the money that I have to make as an adult, because I don't have that cushion. All of the money that I've invested into my business has been my cold earned cash, and there hasn't been a buffer yet to kind of offset that. I hopefully, it will. But I think that's one of the things that people don't talk about in entrepreneurship, and maybe that's why I'm kind of everything is going to benefit me, whether I've targeted or not, because it has to, because there's just too much riding on the line for me to quit my job and be I'm going to go and be a publicist for full time. There's no backbone. There's no cushion. I can move it to my parents' house, but then I'm sleeping on a twin mattress.
I did that.
And hearing CNN on the TV. I'm not trying to be in that environment.
But don't you think that competitive energy goes right into it?
Well, it's survival.
It's
survival. It becomes survival, and I think that's why I've had to really balance both, because my mental health and having to be in that survival entrepreneurial stage, because there was a time I was 8 months and I was full. My business was my everything. It was every single day. And that stress was so rewarding, but it also did a lot of damage on what I thought I always needed to do, and how much those bills just did not get paid. And there was no, yes, there was.
Well, you also nice things.
I do like nice things. That is true.
Caveat.
But I will say, knowing if I don't make this 10K from this contract, I can't just I'll just be here another month. It's not coming to my account. The bills aren't getting paid. The nails aren't getting done.
And that never goes away.
It never goes away.
That reality never goes away.
But I think for people of color, and I think anybody who's come from a small, like family dynamic that doesn't have a lot of money, the entrepreneurial journey is terrifying because we're talking about, like, let's make our first 10K. And it's like, but that also comes with no health insurance. Yeah. Or a more expensive plan. And that also comes with
an
like,
employee that you need to give that money to.
That employee or that subcontractor, like the dream is great and it's big, but I do feel like there's such a terror in becoming an entrepreneur because that backbone is something that I know for my mom, talking about education and how it was very important. Like, there's also the shame of like, I just got 2 degrees and now I want to go write press
and
releases.
now I want to go be on the radio.
So
I want to go make jokes about Destiny's Child.
And then you think about you think about like my mom slaved away at Fuddruckers for 2 years for me to just be like, I want to be a publicist. It all contributes, I think, to that grind and being able to really kind of be like, and it's rewarding. I want to say that it's definitely rewarding. You can be like, wow, I started from nothing and created this, and it's for a client or it's for a product, and like now it lives in the ethernet for forever. But I feel like there's such a terror because I still know at the end of the day, like, as much money as I will make, as many clients I will have, I don't have a trust waiting for me. I don't have a backup plan. I don't even have and I love my parents. They did what they need to be done. But I think that experience of being an immigrant and then being American, but not really American, and like seeing things for what they are, and also just like how money moves when you're in a family that's like not from America, and like having to like sometimes you learn like the same time that your parents learn how to be adult in America.
Oh, absolutely.
And to do that and to see it, like I remember even for college, filling out FAFSA, my parents had no clue what FAFSA was. Right. Yeah. Like they didn't even know how to. They know how to read. Let me not shade my parents, but. The lingo and the verbiage and
the application's really hard though.
It is, but it's just with no framework of like, oh, the government gives you a little money to go to school. We didn't know that, or like really figuring out what your income level. All these things I had to learn, and then I had to explain to my parent, and then I had to get their signature, and then I had to go and actually do a thing. So, one way of like just getting back to our topic is just like. There's so many more challenges that your mind will even stop you from accomplishing. And I feel like then we get into just the diversity of it and how that really, I think, is how we experience all this so differently, but also just like, it's such a triumphant when you do become successful and you do have that wonderful moment.
It's like,
it's the same feeling, but like that journey is so
it's like a high.
Different.
Like I remember when I made my first $1 for my company, which took me a year and a month, and it wasn't even a lot, but when I got it and I saw the product that I had made and just something where I was at, I was just, and it was my mom came up to me and was like, wow. Like, and these are my parents had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. And I didn't know either. I was just like, I'm going to figure it out. And they're like, you will. And even as I started making the show and stuff, you can tell they were like, what are you doing? What does this mean? What is that? And then, and a lot of not doubt, but a lot of, okay, this is fun or this is cool,
but it's real.
Where are you? When are you going to get a real job, or when is this going to make money? Not understanding. I need to build this first. That takes time, and I had investors and blah blah. And so then towards the end of it, when I started to, you could see it start to come together. I showed them, and they were just like. Got it. And
but you're learning at the same time, and it's crazy.
And when my mom was just saw the magnitude of what it could be, and I got her respect. She's like, "You keep going." And you know what's crazy for me? There was a couple days where I was just, this, and I wanted to touch on that what you said, because it was like I think my biggest, if I could say, like, let's talk about our biggest pro of the year when it came to entrepreneurship, like our biggest thing we learned, and then maybe the biggest thing that we could have done better on. And the biggest thing I could have done better on that I'm really spending time reflecting on at the end of this year is I hope next year that I will stop the black and white of like, nope, I don't want it, I'm out. I'm trying to learn that.
Tequila.
But then, literally. And then this year I would say I got a lot of advice in the beginning of like, slow down. As an entrepreneur, no one tells you when to clock out. No one tells you to stop. And I was like, and I didn't know because I was so young and so hungry. And you see the top of the hill, man, and you're sacrificed everything to get there. And I'm like, I'll work overnights at a gym, you know what I mean, to keep it going. And and I'm doing it, and I'm not knowing I am deteriorating. I am the damage that this year of entrepreneurship probably did to me my first year. I hope I recover. Like my hair started to thin.
The stress is really real.
And you don't even think you're stressed. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just.
You get used to it.
Add it onto the
plate.
plate.
And then you're crying in your car and you're like, what is happening?
Or you see other people and you're just like, how are they? And you don't realize.
Well, everyone's lying. Everyone's lying. Let's just put it out there.
Including myself.
Everyone's lying. I'm lying too. I mean, actually no, but I am.
But I'm just saying, I wish and everybody told me like, hey, you're in control of yourself. We can tell you've got a lot of energy. We can tell you're really running. Can you walk? And I was just like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Until, you know, it was November where I was just, I looked at my business partner. I went, I'm tired. And he went, thank God you finally said that. Like I have been waiting for you to get tired, because he's like, I'm tired and I got tired 2 months ago and you're gonna crash. So like you need to find a way to make this.
It's the long game.
These are the hard lessons you gotta learn.
For all new entrepreneurs, if you think this cup of water is gonna make you $1 billion, it's not going to make it tomorrow. And if it will, great. But try to live your life that it'll make you $1 billion in 10 years. AKA what Claire's doing. She has something she has health insurance, which I'm telling you,
shout out.
95% of your stress is gone because you just have a health insurance.
I made a doctor's appointment today. I'm good, man.
Like I didn't know that the stress of me having to go to the emergency room that week and pay that while also paying an employee, while also paying for a shoot, while also it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's not.
And then you're like constantly thinking about it, and you can't even sleep because all you're thinking about is
I've missed
ideas,
weddings,
strategies.
I've missed vacation.
Oh no, I'm turning up. I'm going.
No, I would just be so. And then like I learned how to. I lost on my own dime type thing. Like I took my first hit. I was in my room for a week, just like
in shock,
shaking, just like what do I do? And you don't. As a minority, as an immigrant in America, I don't have anybody to look up to. I can't look up at another Arab woman in entertainment and go. In Hollywood and go, okay, what is she doing? Let me ask her nothing. You just got to call your mom. And that's why, my mom would be the one who's like, if I have to drag you to the Grammy stage, I'm dragging you. You've committed to this. We don't quit. Keep going. You're crying today. She would always tell me, you're crying. What do you want to go do? Work for somebody? Right. If not, keep going. She's like, I don't want to hear it today. And
that support system is really critical. Like you need your one or two friends or parents or someone, because you're gonna have your bad days. But that balanced approach of just seeing whatever situation you're in, I think leaning hard into the dream and the vision early while you're naive is really, really critical. Because as you get older, society's gonna talk you back from things. The key piece though is having that balanced approach of what's my backups. I went full in. I was living at home and I was the stress was crazy. And thankfully I picked up small contracts and I lived inexpensive. I still do. I mean, I didn't have kids pretty intentionally because I knew I wanted to be this, unstable entrepreneur. And people say entrepreneur is glamorous and it's fun. The reality is it is unstable.
Being
you have to be ready for what's
hard
coming,
independent woman is not the vibe. No, man. I need an Arab prince ASAP.
I'm dead.
ASAP.
Yes. 2 of those.
Or a Nigerian prince.
Hey.
Yeah, put
2 of anything.
Jeez.
And who likes to work hard?
No, it's super difficult, and I feel like
but it's worth it.
It's worth it. But I also feel like
you have a passion and idea and you're hardworking
but
and
honestly,
you know it.
even if you don't have an idea, because because I need to shout out all the lazy successful people, because
luck is real. Some blind squirrels can find a nut.
I serve a mighty God as well, but it's that too. But it's like I feel like, because this is my story, and I feel like even working out with me, you'll see this of like, I'm half-assing it on the warm-up.
You say this a lot.
I'm barely listening to the coach, and then when it's go time, I'm busting it out like rep after rep. And then it's like double the weight of everybody. And so I know that's my own strength.
Yeah.
I know that's my own strength. I know that's something but I feel like I want to say this to the lazy entrepreneurs who are just like taking 5.5 years to put up their website. I am one of those people.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's the path, though. That's okay.
You don't have to be like, I want to be an entrepreneur, therefore I'm going to now sell that thing of water and it's going to be the best thing. I think those are entrepreneurs that exist. But I also think there's the people who discovered something and just every month, every year, just did a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, because that's what happened with me in my business. I was like, I just took on one client. And then I was like, cool, that was great. Then I was like, let me take on another one. And then it became like, well, what are my services? What do I like to do? How can I make this? Like, how can I make money from this? But also, how can I not get myself into something where now I'm sitting there and I hate it? And now I have to figure out a marketing strategy for a toothpaste company that I care nothing about. Yep. So I feel like it's a slippery slope when you're so target focused on being like, I want to make money.
I agree.
It
can kill you.
It can kill you. So that's why I suggest, like, do whatever is sometimes easiest, but that you can build every single day, because that burnout is real. And I feel like the crash of like being an entrepreneur and then like completely stopping, I feel like it's way more common than we even know. Oh yeah. So it's like you really have to sit up there and really just not think like, okay, this is it, this is the money mine, because it's not going to be that. Like, what I thought my services were going to be when I first started my business now is completely different. Like, they're completely,
and that's how it should be,
a different thing.
That'd be my number one piece of advice, is being open to evolution, because the variable we're not talking about is the marketplace, the world. Right. Things are changing so fast. The consumer's changing so fast. The way people buy, the way society is, everything is changing. If you're not evolving and on the trend-setting tip of what's next, you are irrelevant, and irrelevant equals no money, equals out of business. So it's like you have to be mind, and also like growing as a human. Like this business journey is about making money, but you're finite. Your time's finite. Your days are numbered. It's how 100%. Are you spending them? What are you doing? And if you're not consciously enjoying it, again, you go right back to the mental health piece of like, all right, we got to pull back and we need to do this different. And I think people get really fearful and like, well, this is my business. This is what it is. And it's like, well, no, my consulting company's changed 1,000 times. Again, I didn't have aspirations of being a podcast. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even like. That wasn't even in like mind's eye of Tequila Dreams until it started to evolve to what it was. And then I just started to lean into what I enjoyed the most. And I was like, can we make money off of
But do you think you knew yourself though too? Because I feel like, I think this when we were talking about the fake entrepreneurs or the people that you meet, you're just like, you don't really know what you're doing, but you've set up your marketing so well that like people just believe you. But do you feel like you have to, I feel like you really have to know who you are and your work ethic. And everyone's just like, well, I have work ethic. And it's like, but no, like, are you answering emails at any time, or are you delaying them because you have anxiety because seeing 15 emails come in makes you nervous, but you're in an industry where like, you have to get back to people.
Yeah, that's not even a thing. That comes
or do
in
you
by
understand? Because I feel like that for me, I had to sit down and really be like, can I literally pitch every single day to whoever and still have the same energy, whether it's a toothpaste company or a store opening or anybody? And I was like, I can't. I really had to ask myself that, because I'm like, if I need to get clients,
and you found out you could.
And
so
I
you
could.
Said, great.
But there's other things that I was just like, I ain't good with keeping the numbers together. I'm gonna have to hire that out.
You gotta find your team. And that's why it can happen in pieces. But that honest conversation of doing hard things, and this would be my number one advice to young people, whatever path you choose, keep doing hard stuff, whether it's training for something or building a dog business.
Keep learning. Take care of your trying to learn something.
The second you get out of doing hard things is a big reason why I'm doing this crazy marathon. Not because I'm a good runner or whatever. It's a good decision for my niece. Because it's hard and it's in pursuit. But like,
if somebody took it too far.
Well, look at my suit.
I don't know how your knees are.
It's not a marathon.
Okay, great. Which I really am.
Yeah, I'll let you borrow my insurance.
Thank you. She's running a mile, then half a marathon, then a full marathon, then like another half, and then back. Just so 5K, you guys know.
10K. Full 5K, 10K, half full.
Yeah, do you want to become a dependent on my insurance? Because I gladly.
That'll be good for your taxes too.
I would.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
I got you.
You know what I wanted to say?
But you got to stay in the mix of that hard stuff.
You mentioned this, and I think my journey looks a little bit different than yours, but I'm learning so much from you. That's why it's so cool, because your perspective is so different than I had to black and white it and be like, here we go. But yours is such a more logical, incredible approach, realistic.
Yours as well.
But as you're doing well, you see I can do better and bop, bop. You know, but I will say for maybe my position, I did not know who I was when I started this company. And every single day, this company has forced me to live in my truth, which is something that girls like me don't live in. And forced me every day to figure out who I am, because I can't get to the next step without, so I don't care. So as much as I love the money and it's really important and I hope I'm going to be really successful one day, great. I can never turn back what I now know of who I am, based off what I think I call my company my baby, what Roro gave me, and to be Roro, I had to unlock every step of who I was to get her. It took me a year, instead of like, oh, today I have to make this much. Or it was really like, oh my God, Rosa, you have to get on camera today and tell the world you're Arab. Just little things like that. Like that was my challenge.
I'm so proud of you for doing that.
That's what's up.
Or whatever it is, So I would say it's okay to be an entrepreneur who hasn't figured it all out, as long as you dedicate every day to some sort of figuring of it out. Because think about it. If I would have started this, you're right. My market just started existing a year ago.
Everything is on time. We're not in control
radio.
That much.
No.
I started radio in 2017 because I wanted to be one of the first Arab Americans on to cross the bridge between Saudi Arabia and Dubai and America. When I started in 2017, music was illegal in the Middle East. Oh wow! So this wasn't even allowed. So now 10 years later, I'm so proud of myself for never quitting, for continuing to believe that I knew that I was going to see this through. And now I'm on year 11. And
we love it.
And I have a show with Arab female artists there first. Yeah. So you got to just, who also they are figuring out who they are too. Yeah. So it's just like this thing but in that thing, supply it, have health insurance. Even if, do what Claire can do, which is find a job that you like, that you're not going to.
That you tolerate. That
can be the same.
You don't have to like the job. It just has to let you do what you want to do. Yeah. And you have to be honest with yourself. Yeah. Like, shout out to everyone who's in the medical profession. Like, those people who have business. So I don't know how y'all do it because that's super challenging. But I feel like from what you're saying as well, which I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
But also just understanding like what your business is to you. Like, you say your business is your baby. My business is my side piece that I text on the holidays.
Hey.
Like,
it's whatever it is.
My business is my side piece that will always get a Christmas gift. It will always get a happy birthday. I hope your mom's doing well. My business is not
starts for the people and it's for you. It's about you and that learning journey of whatever it is, God, universe, whatever you believe. This is what I got to do, my path for everyone else. The whole time it's coming to you. You're evolving,
just
you're
a
learning,
reminder,
and it's changing.
You're seeing 3 fully different stories.
Totally
You're seeing
different.
one girl who literally will die for it tomorrow just off whatever, take my arm. You're seeing somebody who's like, yeah, right, I'm too cute for that in a way. I'm here though, yeah. And then you're seeing somebody who's like, well, I've been balancing this whole for
sort of. No, it is not.
No,
we've been casting checks to get gas before.
I know,
but there's been a very humble beginning.
Seeing.
But 25 years later.
25 years later.
We figured out. This took 13 years to get to.
The sign looks like it took 13 years.
Oh yeah, no, the sign was the easy part. The branding's the easy part. But the point is, I think more than the business and the money, I really want the takeaway to people to know of like, if this is somewhere within you, find a way to just put it somewhere. And if it's fast or if it's slow, I think being strategic is always the way, but do it because it's so much bigger than about serving other people and everything else. It's about you finding yourself and finding your purpose and the way you can be purpose. And if you're authentic and you're living it, it will be functionally successful. Yeah.
And as the entrepreneur, put your money where your mouth is.
100%.
Wake up, do your taxes, push yourself, you probably, I'm talking about and entrepreneurs who probably don't even have employees yet. You have to think about like one day.
You don't even have to have employees.
I contract everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're not gonna, so you got to just know everything's going to be on you for a little bit. How am I going to balance that? Am I going to do what I say? And just know real sees real. The smoke and mirrors, those fake entrepreneurs.
Especially our young people.
Baby girl, they
catch you. Let's talk about that.
It doesn't work. Wait, I want to read just a couple of these stats. Or these stats, just because I think they're super alarming in 2023, and this is about entrepreneurs, but women in particular. And this is not in-depth research. I just wanted to Google statistics and women in entrepreneurship on Google, just so you know what most people are asking. Mm-hmm. So this is top of mind for the masses. Great. So I literally Googled statistics on female entrepreneurship. The biggest one that pops out, the women's total entrepreneurial activity, TEA, rate in the United States increased to 15.2% in 2021 from 13.6% in 2020. So this is 15% of all entrepreneurs are female. That is a very, very small number. I mean, it's great, but that's little. So then I was looking at what are the main questions. What are the stats on female founders, women-owned startups, spotlights new entrepreneurs, and shows that in 2021, women started 39.9% of businesses. Mm-hmm. So there's 15% of us in the market doing it, and then 39% of us were actually founders and starters, compared to 60% that were created by men. So we're still a ways away. Yeah. And we we're pretty progressive. There should also
be a stat in there for all the women who help their men support them's businesses.
You already know about them.
Held them down.
You already know. No, they're out there. I've had a multitude of female friends where they had their 9 to 5 and they paid for law school, they paid for doctor's school for their husband, and then
is that love? Is that what love is?
That's commitment if I ever heard it.
It just depends. I have a great friend.
Ghetto.
I have a great friend who just financed her husband's business, which is
I'm sorry.
I thought it was a flex.
I think business and family is hard, but it works for some people. This is how many female owners, how many female-owned businesses fail?
He needed her help.
30% of female businesses fail.
I believe it.
And how many of
we have so much more to balance. There's so many more variables from when you get in a relationship. Like,
to a child.
We all know that women somehow, for some stupid reason, becomes the submissive partner and have to sacrifice way more from if they want to have children, if they want to, even the pick-me girls who just want to support their husbands because they want to be a wife so badly, but they're still business owners. Like, there is so much more sacrifices as a woman that you have to either kind of give up or kind of really construct so that it doesn't interrupt what your entrepreneurial journey is going to be.
If I had a husband, if I had a kid, there is no way, no questions asked. I could not be able to do any of this.
There's no.
I don't know if I wouldn't be able to.
I wouldn't have been able to do it at the level at all. No, not with a.
I mean, women do it. It's happening, right? It's alive and well. It's happening. Yeah. This is our female founders more successful. General question in relevance to men. It says there's enough data, and this is from Forbes. I can post these stats. There is enough data to show that female entrepreneurs outperform their male counterparts.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Even though men have a significant advantage into raising funds, companies founded or co-founded by women do better along several dimensions than companies started by men.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's November 13, 2023. So these, you got to dig into some of these stats and really unpack it. I do think there's a whole podcast and conversation around the sacrifice in marriage and relationships and how it's so much more societally acceptable for the man to be the breadwinner, even if the woman sacrifices, and to get none of the credit.
But I also love what Mark Cuban said too. He kept it real the other day. He was just like, "Hey, being an entrepreneur isn't for everybody," and that's cool too. Like, I have a family member who makes incredible money, works remote most of the time, goes into work 2 to 3 times a week, gets her stuff done, clocks in on her remote, goes to the gym, comes back, answers a call, handles her work, can figure it out, and lives a phenomenal life. And every time she sees me do something, she's like, "Yeah, hell no." And I'm just thinking, like, but why? You have, it's like the teacher, but you have all of this stuff. And she's just like, "No, I'm an adult, and this is what makes me happy. I love to do a job that pays me whatever." Right? And I want to dedicate my time, money on my family.
It goes right back to knowing yourself. And I feel like those situations where you are either the partner that becomes submissive and then supports, because it is a beautiful thing. I'm not knocking anybody who does that. Like, I think it's very honorable to support somebody financially that you believe in and do all those things. But I do feel like you have to know that for yourself. And you have to know, okay, does my business feed me, or does me being in a relationship and getting that love and affection and all those things and companionship? Everybody wants to die with somebody. Yeah. So it's like, let's be real. We all want that. But I just feel like that sacrifice, I think culturally has always tied back to, did my mom birth me and my sisters in a mud hut, literally, for me to then choose a man and his profession over my things? And my hope and prayer is that my husband is a person who is, it's a true partnership. He's a true teammate. But, like, you have to have that conversation with yourself before you create all those things. Because it's cute to be like, I'm a boss. But if you're a boss and you're over here taking circles of blocks, stalking his home because you are so infatuated, like, you have to be real with yourself. You gotta be real with yourself.
A whole other level. Well, I mean, you gotta do some core value testing and know what's. And honestly, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she wanted that role. And God bless her. I think she's the best mother in the world, and that is her craft. Yeah. Now shout out Colorado Clownfish. She teaches young humans how to survive in water. Like, it's no joke. She's the kid whisperer. That's her lane. Yeah. So it's knowing where your lane is, and I'm with you on finding the teammate. And it's not even women versus men. That's why I don't love this.
No, it's not.
I just want for my young females to read that, like, while it's low, it's getting better. It's happening more. There's people blazing trail that don't look like them doing, like, it is possible. Yeah. And if you are the first, know that it's going to be hard. Be the discipline, but know there's opportunity out there.
What would you say, you guys, is like age in life or ages that you started to feel like a shift in finally knowing kind of who you are?
Girl, yesterday.
Really? You still feel like changing?
I feel like I change every 6 months, to be honest, since maybe 20.
But not dramatically, though. You're not like, we're not going through our goth phase again.
No, like, I think I am, actually. I literally paint my nails black.
But I see what you're saying. Dramatic is that when you're in high school and you have no idea. I feel like 26 to me was kind of like, which is still young, but I don't know. 26 was I don't think it started to click.
I don't think for me it was honestly an age. It was, to be real, it was traumatic experiences that I had no idea existed. Like I said, my family is a multiracial family, and so a lot of experiences with racism, sexism, just misogynoir, like all these things that we now have vocabulary words to describe. I literally did not know they existed because my parents and the way I grew up, and literally people from my town can attest to the same experience. Like, we just didn't know these things existed, which I feel like is beautiful. That's what it should be. You should grow up and be a kid and be like, that man was kind of rude, but whatever. I'm going to go to my friend Stacey's house and we're having a sleepover with her mom and her, like, Polish dad. Like, that's how I really grew up. So as I became an adult and I went to school in the South, which was another traumatizing experience, because I was just like, I only saw people of color in the cafeteria, as the janitors. And mind you, all my life, I've seen Black people excel. Like, they are the people, and white people, like Indian people, Asian people. I just saw everybody who wanted to excel. Like, my high school was the type where it's like, the Asian drug dealer was the coolest kid on the block, and the quarterback who was Black was like valedictorian. Like, the diversity in like abilities was so prominent. So I feel like when I got older and I was having like back-to-back years of traumatic experiences, it brought to light, like, wow, the world is really not what my parents like tried to foster. But that's why I'm like, every 6 months I change, because either a traumatic experience happens or I'm reminded that I have to really anchor back to like who I am and kind of like face off from it. And I don't think it's gonna like necessarily be a moment where like, oh, it was like 25, because I'll say it was 25 for me. That's when it like really I was like, okay, this is gonna happen every single year for the rest of my life. But I just feel like what I'm gonna go through my 40s is something I never experienced in my 20s. So it's like there will always be a moment that I'm like, wow, like this is real life, and how am I going to bounce back from it? Thank God I was an athlete, and I know what adversity looks like through physical pain and physical determination. But from a business standpoint, where I had no knowledge of how to run a business, how to keep the books, how to market, how to like come up with strategy, I literally had to use my God-given talent and my friends in my network to kind of see what it was. And you still have hiccups, and it's just like, you just have to kind of bounce back from that and know that like, this is a part of your journey and everything is literally working towards your good. Because if you don't, those traumatic experiences as a Black woman living in the South, I would have dropped out. I would have gone home to Jersey. I would have worked at Lululemon. Like, I just would have, I would have just given up. But I didn't, because I'm like, there has to be more. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, you have to believe like that. It has to be your North Star.
You gotta
like,
keep the why.
There has to be more. And even if I don't know what it is, if I don't know what it is, it's just there. It exists. And
guess what's gonna get you there?
Do you think that's fake?
Your gut's gonna get you there.
You said your gut.
I don't know if it's, I don't know. I feel like it's whatever pushes you forward. I do believe it's a part of my faith. I do believe that being a publicist is somewhat of a calling for me, because I've talked to other publicists, big firms, small firms, and they're saying all these stuff, and they have, you know, the coordinators and the junior publicists, and I'm doing the work of like their CEO. And it came here. I have a degree in PR because I was like, I don't want to write papers all day, but I want to be able to, like, I did not choose PR as even a major to kind of like, I'm going to be this big CEO. I was like, I just need to be able to like bounce back from track meets on the weekends and party with them. Everything was a balance for me. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, no, I am like a public servant liaison. Like, I am a connector of people, places, brands, and institutions. And I can do it just by myself. There's nothing I need to like, there's no pep talk behind the curtain of like, okay, Claire, say this, this, and that. I go in a room and I'm like, so you probably should do this. And it just comes out of my mouth and I'm just like, wow. Pause.
I think you're in alignment though.
It's in alignment.
See, I'm not like traditionally faithful, but I've always been pulled in a direction. And like when I had my mind's eye on like, we're going to do this, it wasn't even confidence or maybe faith. It was just like, to me, and live in service is the most important thing. Like impact is at the end of the day, all that matters. I want money. I want all the things, like, let's go. And if it's not impactful and useful for this world, if I died tomorrow and that was it, and I was like, nothing of this was use, it would have been like, I didn't serve my purpose. It wasn't the point. So I've always felt pulled. And I think, and I don't know if our young people or anyone kind of searching, like if there's something pulling you in a direction, however you label it, I really think that is the gold piece.
Lean into it.
Lean in and chase it. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be labeled, but lean in. If something's pulling you in a direction, I think that's something that can not only find you on the path, but save your life on the really hard days when shit gets bad. And so I say you got to do hard things, not to stay fit, not to look a certain way, but so when you're like kicked down, beat up physically, whatever, when the mental stuff comes around or the family or this experience, you're like, okay, we've been here, unfortunately, and I can do this. Because as you get older and you get more passionate, you do bigger things, the breakdowns are bigger. It gets harder.
Way bigger.
That's the point of life, though, is to be in it and be on the front side.
And it's way easier to quit when you're older, and it's way easier to give up.
Real comfortable.
You
get real
comfortable. And when you really, really,
there's too much at stake.
I think
you don't be 45 and talking about some. I don't know. I don't have health insurance. Like it's not cute.
Yeah, and you know,
it ain't cute.
It's coming. You know it's coming. You like,
but if you start at 45, it's okay.
Go out there. No, follow your dreams. My bad. Shout out to the 40-year-olds.
It's never too late.
And
it's 43.
You're so
but it's
naked,
not cute at 65.
You know, you're so naked as an entrepreneur. Like people can
it's
see
vulnerable.
that. Like
it's
if
vulnerable.
at 25 I did it, and then at 45 I'm still saying that, you could see my nakedness of like, I didn't say what I said I was gonna do, or I didn't whatever. So that's why the individual has so much pressure, because we know, it's black and white. These guys are gonna see in a year or so. Am I gonna produce? Am I gonna really turn up what I say? So it's a lot of pressure in that point. But like, you just got to go for it.
You have to lean into it. And honestly, you don't have to lean into it every single day. You could sit back. You could recline.
Universe has its
You could put
time.
your ankles up and just, do it later. Like, you can do that, but there's a clock still ticking.
Facts.
But it's like leaning into it is leaning into it when you feel to lean into it. And if you're forcing it because you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to walk around the city and say that I own this.
Yeah, you're not going to get
don't do
well,
that.
Not for ego. That won't work.
If it's an ego trip, it's the fastest way for you to be like found out.
People won't believe it.
Entrepreneurship is definitely based off of referrals and people's actual words.
Business is relationships.
That you can really hold. And it's just like, if you are on that path of like, I just want to be an entrepreneur so I can say I'm a boss ass bitch, or I'm more, or you want to seek some sort of like hierarchy of social status, like, please, baby girl, go sit down, do therapy, figure out who you are, and then lean into
and
whatever.
Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. This costs.
Beyonce doesn't walk in the room and be like, I'm rich. Like, if you're there, you don't have to say, don't do it for those reasons, and like everything else will come. No. All right, we could go on. I love you as all the days. But before we fully wrap up, I ask everybody this: what is success to you?
Ooh.
Claire, you want to go first?
Dang, success to me? Mm-hmm. Success to me is honestly, I would say safety.
Okay.
That's a great one.
Tell me more about that.
I was about to say that. Yep, that was my top two. Absolutely.
It's safety.
In every way.
I think, one, of course, we all know money provides some sort of net of, I have my own home, I have a vehicle, I have, all the things taken care of on my body, internally, externally. That's safety. And I think money definitely is the conduit to providing that. But as an immigrant, as a Black woman, as a plus size Black woman, safety is something that, we step outside of our doors and it's immediately at risk at any moment, any turn. And I'm not trying to be like, live in a skeptical world where you're scared, but it's a true reality. And you see it in so small seeping ways as a Black woman that, to me, I'm like, if I could be safe, all my colors shine brighter, all of my personalities, all my skill sets shine way more light. But for Black women and people of color, I do feel like if there's not a sense of safety, we're just surviving, and survival looks like whatever it needs to be, whether that's being more abrasive so people take you seriously so they don't take advantage of you, or having 1,011 degrees just to prove that there is a sense of intelligence of you that not only you have, but a piece of paper and a PWI institution has told you have. Those are things to me that, yes, they're paper, they're money, but to me, the umbrella of it is that it creates another net of safety that, sadly, if I didn't have it, if it wasn't in my radius, it would be a very much harder world drastically than it would if I didn't have those things. And to me, so with my business, with my corporate job, with my friends, I literally today was just thinking, because my birthday's tomorrow.
Hey, happy birthday.
I turned 31, so but being able to have that, to me, is just something that allows me to do what I feel like privileged populations do so easily, that holds, I feel, for me back. And so that's the one thing I always seek. And so success to me is safety.
Let's go.
Great answer.
Wait, real question. Is Win PR, like, is safety in the core values? Like, do you think that plays into your purpose through Win PR?
I think safety for me within Win PR, it doesn't really... I feel like when I'm safe, it then helps Win PR versus it being within a mission. I think the core of my mission is also subcontracting and working with other Black-owned female businesses. That to me, because then I'm creating safety for another Black woman to feel safe and to show her colors and to make the mistakes and to log on to the meeting late and to miss the cue. And, you know, there's a sense of grace of like, it's okay, do better next time. And then next time it is cutthroat and now it is business. Yeah. But I think it's just the way that I produce as the project manager, as the lead publicist in my business with other people, to say, I will create safety. I will give you all the tools, but then like you need to kick ass when I tell you to kick ass, because we have a job to do. But I've gotten so much great feedback from women that I work with that I contract all the time, because they're like, I know you're going to give me enough grace space to really like melt into this, instead of walking into a intimidating contract and being like, holy shit, I have to provide all of this and no one's even talking to me nice. Yeah. No one's giving me a debrief of who the client is, what they need, and all those things. And I'm like, those are small things, but I feel like going into a big PR firm or a big company, there doesn't seem to be that bridge sometimes. And so that safety is important to me. Right. So maybe just it just is, but it's not in my core mission. I feel like I just create it within my working process.
I hear that. So. Well, I think even just cultivating the relationships and the conversation around it exposes the conversation around that feeling. Because if you don't have that perspective, you don't know till you hear it or you're exposed to it.
Yeah.
So even that's,
and usually it's too late. And I feel like that's the danger of like, then you get these performance reviews at corporate jobs, or you just get fired
within the game.
And that's the threshold. And I feel like that stops a lot of women, a lot of Black women, a lot of women of color from trying again, because they're just like, well, they told me because I don't know how to work Outlook email that now I have to go back to the drawing board, where it's just like, girl, it's just like Google Suites, but everything looks a little different. Those are basic examples, but I just feel like
also, if you want to be an entrepreneur, YouTube, bro. YouTube University. For
real.
Everything I've done.
100%. But yeah, I do think it lives, but safety for me is absolute success.
That's a great answer.
It is.
Great answer.
Yeah. Rosa fired at us.
What's for me, after like you get successful and make money and whatever, I think success to me would, I hope one day, look like mentorship, as in like, I know there's other girls like me out there. I would love to, I can't wait till I meet the next me who's a 17-year-old who's just cracked out on life and is like, I want to be on the radio. And I'm like, okay, let's channel
I have some pro tips.
We've got something.
Day one.
Yeah,
right.
like
you don't feel like you're already doing this? You have little humans looking up to you all the
right,
time.
But
I feel
no, like a real like come here, like what I was taught. Come here, sit. When I started in radio, my mentor Sadie's made me draw the entire board, draw it and color code it, and then draw one every day for her, the entire big board, just to show her. She would make me learn how to do the board, and it was like that was mentorship.
Yes.
And then when I mess up, she would grab me, she'd push me to the wall and be like, "What the? You knew better." And I would, you know, I really did learn type thing. And so I would love, especially young Arab women. I would love, and it's like so I really love what you said, safety. Everything I do in Roro's Global, it comes out through this video format. For now, as of now, it's gonna change. It's gonna shift. But the whole point of it is to protect these other Arab women on that screen. Yeah. Especially if my new wave of Arab women are starting to enter this entertainment space. They're gonna need a PR. They're gonna need a manager. They don't know what that contract says and all those weird constituencies that I got caught up in that my parents had to help me out of. So it's like I want to be able to mentor them and shift their mind to believing in who they are and knowing that Arab women can be in entertainment. You can host the Grammys and it's not a sin, you know? But so I just love a group of them one day when I'm maybe 40 or something and just be like, all right, let me show, but teach them radio and entertainment. This is your camera cue and this is real radio. Yeah, so one day you're the next me or you're the next whatever. I would love to see that. And so then my kid would have one or two people to look up to
it's
like
a legacy.
that. I would love that because I've done everything that I know it sounds great. I've done this for 11 years and I still probably have 40 more years in me of like I'm going to interview.
Don't have it planned out.
Just
keep showing up.
Just do your thing.
Keep showing up.
In the sense of like I'm not done. No, not that. I want to keep going, but I've also seen a lot of my happiness in the journey has come from when I found the next girl or when I saw someone else. Yeah. When I identified she was in year one of her journey. Yeah. And I'm like, and I can see their energy and how they really want it and just the resources aren't there. Yeah. So it's like I want to provide the resources and the safety and the education to make them who they are one day. Because you can only like have so much fun doing interviews and like you can only get shocked by big, oh my gosh, it's Chris Brown. Oh my, you can only get happy by that for so long. Yeah. The next I realized phase of happiness was like one day we had a dream day where we shot a mock Fenty and bows and ad campaign in the show. It's so dope. At one point, the girls there was all these Christmas trees. We were doing props. It was for the next shoot. I said, let's walk by these Christmas trees. Let's get these Muslim girls in their hijabs. We're playing just outlandish stuff. And I remember I went home that day and I was just crying so hard because it was the best day of my life. And every one of those girls had never been on a camera before, wanted to pee her pants when they saw the huge setup. And it took me hours to be like, let's walk them through the plot. Let me teach you what entertainment is. Then what you're going to do. And then by the end of it, they felt so pretty and they loved it. And they were just like, they changed as women. And I was like, come on.
They're going home different people.
And guess what that was? We started with inner beauty to show the outer beauty for them. They had to see themselves on that camera. 100%. She had to like how she looked. Outer beauty, it matters. Let's not play. Let's not play. I had to make sure their makeup was right and whatever. And she saw herself and was like, oh my God, can I use this for like my LinkedIn profile?
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yes, sis.
Yes,
like,
you see, you're using everything.
Yeah,
it's happening.
So I would love that. Hopefully one day, but who knows? Kids are annoying. And
they'll come through. Do you guys think your mission's bigger than you?
Yeah. And I wish it wasn't because I'd rather do something else and have fun. But
it's a hard path.
I don't know if it is bigger than me because sometimes I don't even know if I'm doing it or not. I feel like, in a sense of like, I don't think that way. I'm not like, my mission is to. I don't think it's to be a publicist. I just think I'm that girl.
I don't think you have to quarantine being a publicist. I think you're doing the public thing. And I'm like you. I don't like being labeled, and I've rewritten this what it means. It's always made sense to me. But now I have to explain it, and it's like, why don't you just get it? But you have to quarantine it. It can just be. And it is. And like that is the mission. Like there is no other way. Like that you've always been doing it.
I wish I was like Logan Paul and had a prime drink and then like it hit.
Oh my God, please.
That's what I
just think I'm walking.
So far above
I'm honestly I'm just walking in it and I'm just like taking whatever. What do you say? Taking names and kicking ass.
You do be saying that.
Maybe
you said something like that. Sorry, but
be saying that.
I just feel like for me, yes, I'm whooping ass. That's what you say.
I
just feel like it's something that as I continue to lean in and create safety for myself, it honestly is a ripple effect. I think that's one beautiful thing about being a woman or identifying as a woman is being able to know that if you go through it, like your girlfriend or your sister can suffer maybe 1% less. And I feel like that's the beauty maybe in like walking in my mission of like hiring Black women to work with me, working with brands that are in alignment and are aware like you're working with a Black woman, you're not working with a diversity hire, and being transparent. I think it just
makes all the difference.
It feels like it's just a broom where it's like I'm just collecting stuff and whoever wants to come with me will come. If they don't, sorry, like this is what it is. But I don't know, it just feels more of like as I take it all in, I think it is. You're right, my mission, but it's not as targeted as I feel like
I would love to end with this, and something I didn't realize until I got older, which is I believe my most number one important essential in my entire 20s, outside of your family and food and my girlfriends.
Yes,
my girlfriend. I mean,
protect them, girls.
What? I mean, especially as I entered this entrepreneur thing.
The purest relationship.
I watch them huddle around me and go, protect.
I'm making a reel tonight about my friends. Like, it's just, and honestly, I want to say this too, is like, for the girlies who don't have girlfriends, because I know we all exist.
That is real.
It's not my ministry, but it does exist. The best thing you can do for yourself, because that is tough. People are like, I have all these girlfriends. Some people don't. I know them personally who don't have girlfriends. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is be the best girlfriend for yourself. And just be a decent human, because you will either attract girlfriends or you will at least be enough for yourself to keep moving forward and keep positive, because that is tough. Making friends is not easy, even though it's easy for me. It's not easy for everybody. And so I always want to say, because I feel like there is a dynamic now where people don't have girlfriends and they don't, walk in the wind holding side by side or driving over a cliff with
waiting
their girl.
To exhale. Let's go.
They don't have any of that. And it's just like, that's okay too. But like, be a good person then. Be kind and be kind to yourself, and like either you'll attract them or you're gonna live a good little nice.
Or get a dog. Get some animals.
Or get a dog.
And also, don't trust anybody. Just because you met them, don't trust anybody though. Don't just be like, I got a friend.
We didn't even get to famous versus Denver famous, but we'll save it for another day.
Part two.
Where do we find you guys? Hit us with handles, websites. Let's go.
Rosa, you go first, because I feel like you have it locked down.
Everything for me is
I actually love that.
The Rotation Show The Rotation Show. My personal social is just Rosa Jad. But everything for the show, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon.
Yes.
The Rotation Show. It's lit. I have a really nice red suit. You should watch it.
It is fire. Okay, well, I just looked up my Instagram
handles. I love when you
know
what
I'm saying. I'm
Claire
a
the
lazy
model.
entrepreneur. Well, yes, Claire the model, but win_PR. I literally work on my website. See, it's a building step. But win_PR, Finnaby_Claire. If you wanted to get to me personally. And then Claire_the model, because I'm supposed to be a model as well too. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
All things, eh?
Yeah,
all
let's
things,
go.
And I'm taking 2 clients up until February. So holla at your girl.
Let's go.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
these
you,
are my friends. These you guys. My best pro tip in life, and this is real, and they know I'm real with them because we have been friends so long. The best thing you do is keep people that are better than you around you, so that you are constantly leveling up. Because y'all don't have to choose the hard road. You don't have to do the hard thing. You don't have to be the entrepreneur. You don't have to do the hard workout or blaze trail. Like you're choosing the hard thing, and for that, I will be forever grateful that we're friends and that we get to share this experience in some capacity.
Your friendship has meant so much to me.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I love
We love you.
Go find them.
That was exactly.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.